Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show. Well, good day and welcome aboard. I'm Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran. I'm here today to bring you a lot of information about helping veterans own a home. But before we get into that, Cedric can't be here today. He's working real hard. Sorry about that. I got to tell you, I miss that guy. He travels all over the country doing marriage counseling and marriage ministry to veterans and active duty military. Great guy. Go to healingthinehearts.org and you can find all about him. Also, I want to say a special thank you to Fairway Independent Mortgage because we're going to be talking with Fairway today. So Fairway Independent Mortgage, an equal opportunity lender. My MLS number is 311548 and the corporate one is 2289. So we got that covered and the attorneys can relax. Now, we're going to introduce people that are so amazing. And I've known Kristy now for 3 years. So Kristy Osborn, Fairway Independent Mortgage, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It is great. And you've got to give your NMLS number to keep everybody happy.
I do. So 999896.
All right. And now we've got somebody really special, a United States Marine. Welcome aboard, Brad Teagues. What a great honor to meet you. And as I went through your resume, I was like, wow, this guy's done some phenomenal things. So tell us a little bit about your military service, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a United States Marine. I reached the rank of Sergeant E5, and I served from 1997 to 2003. Served in 97 to 2001 as active duty, and then 2001 to 2003 in the reserve status, and then another couple of years in inactive reserve status. But I was a calibration technician, 6492. Like 4 Marines in the whole world know what that means because we were a very small MOS. And but we definitely supported our air wing and helped the mission readiness. And proud Marine, I'm now currently serving the Marine Corps League as a VSO, which is a Veteran Service Officer, helping Marines get their benefits and anybody who actually would reach out. And yeah, so that's
great. You're passionate. Are you a VA accredited rep then as your service officer?
The VA does not accredit the VSOs that work for the DAV or the VSO. They have their own VSOs that work at the county level. We're just out there assisting, getting them to their benefits. A lot of times we will refer them to the county reps and even the regional rep that's in Waco.
Well, let me tell you, I have referred people to guys like you, and I'm a member of the VFW in Dallas. And I got to tell you, what you do is great in bringing community together. And people can join the Marine Corps League that are not Marines as part of the auxiliary, correct?
That is correct. They can join as part of the auxiliary. And again, we're always, my particular one is out of the Rockwall area, and we're the Jim Randolph detachment of the Marine Corps League. We're always looking for more Marines to join and anybody that would want to join the auxiliary.
Yeah, you want to support the Marine Corps? Go take a look at the Marine Corps League. Kristy, you have been in the mortgage business for a number of years, and you and Sabra, loan officer assistant, that we all work together. It's amazing some of the things you've accomplished, as well as you became a certified senior advisor.
I did.
And I think that shows a tremendous passion of service as well.
Yeah, I think if you're going to work in the older adult community, that having your certified senior advisor designation really shows your commitment to them. I have one of my friends who's a CSA who said it's like getting 3 or 4 master's degrees in aging, and she has her doctorate, so she knows. So it's an intense program, and I'm glad that I did it.
I did it back in 2008, and I got to tell you,
it gives you an opportunity to partner and network with other senior care people, both legal, financial, home health care, medical care, etc. And so this is really important because when you're dealing with seniors, it's an overall, you got to look
That's
at
right.
the entire picture, correct?
That's right. And I feel like when you work with seniors and you become a trusted advisor, then they will reach out to you for other things that they need beyond the scope of what you do.
You bet.
And so having that connection with other CSAs who you know are dedicated and serve their older clients well is essential.
Now, Brad, you're a real estate broker, you're a real estate instructor. What motivated you to get into the real estate business? What brought you into our world?
I'd like to say it was totally that I wanted to help people and build, future home development, but really it was because I went through a divorce, and I had happened to pick up my real estate. I started the real estate classes, and I really found when I went through a divorce, I had a young child, and I was a high school teacher before I was a real estate broker, and which I've found has translated very well because real estate, the misconception of a realtor is they're a salesperson. They're not. They're an educator. And educators translate well into the real estate world because I'm out there teaching people how to own a house. And so I got into it and I found it, I really liked it. I liked my being able to set my own schedule, doing things the way I felt was best to help consumers. And that's really why I launched myself into it. It was not because of the greatest reasons, but it did give me the freedom to raise the children the way I wanted to. And that's how I got into real estate.
Oh, man, I think that's fantastic. I got in because I needed a job when I was in college and then fell in love with it. So I understand. I've been where you've been a long time ago. I think it's also so important that the things that you were in the Marine Corps that you learned, probably organization, you were a sergeant, you made E5, the things about never leave anybody behind, team play, teamwork. These are things that we learned in the military that really go well into the civilian world. You agree?
Well, I definitely agree. And I think one of the big, sets apart good realtors because there's a lot of realtors and there's really good realtors and there's average realtors and there's not so good realtors. And so I think the thing that sets apart a good realtor is somebody who's got that service mentality, been a teacher, been a Marine, been in the military, and actually cares about their clients. It's not just a paycheck. Too many people in the real estate industry, it's just a paycheck. And so you really need to find somebody. One of the big things I tell people all the time is a lot of people when they pick a realtor or they pick a mortgage company, they don't actually take the time to, they just go off the first referral they get.
Yeah.
You really should take the time to talk to the person, make sure you connect, make sure that that person's motives to help you are pure. And if not, interview other people, and I've worked with Fairway. I know the people I've worked with at Fairway are awesome. They put the people first. They're communicating. I've been through other mortgage companies that have not been that effective. And as a realtor, I try to give that service too.
Yeah.
Kristy, one of the big things about Fairway that I really fell in love with when I came 3 years ago is our American Warrior Initiative.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite things about Fairway. If you've ever been to an event where American Warrior Initiative is doing their thing, there's not a dry eye in the room. So the organization is a offset of Fairway, and it is a nonprofit that actually will give service dogs to veterans and first responders. So the impact that a service dog has on the life of a veteran is indescribable, and it's life-saving. And so the work that they do is saving lives, and that's an incredible task.
And one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, Brad, you know about this, a service dog is not just a pet.
Right.
Service dogs have to be trained, and there's certain breeds that they prefer to use. And they are very expensive to train and put that together. I know that Louise Thaxton has forked over probably over $1 million of Fairway money to be able to pay for the dogs that they've given away over the years.
We've given away to date over 450 dogs to deserving men and women. And we also have started something which, if people are interested in getting involved in this, just please reach out. But we've started where we'll help trainers train the dogs. So if you're interested in getting back in that capacity, you can become a trainer, and it's a responsibility, and it's a financial responsibility because you take that on. But when you are able to then give that work and that training forward to a veteran, it's incredible.
I think one of the things that I would like to convey to my audience is just what Brad said. It's important to know who you're working with. It's also important to know about that company and what their values are. One of the things, and I don't want to knock anybody, but I've had experiences where people have called me and they went through a call center company and they never met anybody and they never had a continuity. And that's not good, because the real estate business, in my opinion, and I bet Brad can and Kristy both will agree, it's about problem solving. It's not easy. It's not a cookie cutter business. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. One of the most important things that I want to bring forward, so we're going to set the stage, is the VA home loan. There's a lot of misconceptions. Brad, you were mentioning this earlier.
Yeah, I teach entire courses on this. I'm a Texas Realtors instructor, and the misconceptions about the VA loan, even among veterans, is large. And it's also very large amongst listing agents that don't understand when they put a property out, there's this existing
Kind of a stigma.
that a VA loan is hard to work with. It's actually one of the most flexible loans there is. They underwrite this loan to make sure that it helps veterans. There is no credit limit. It depends on the individual mortgage company. They go out of their way to help the veteran. And while there is a separate inspection that doesn't happen with a conventional loan, that inspection is not as rigorous as people think it is. So many listing agents will say, we won't take VA loans, which I think is a horrible solution to when you're putting out a property, because the VA loan is very flexible. There's also misconceptions of how you can use your VA loan. The VA loan can be used very flexibly. There used to be, just like FHA, some type of like ceiling to it. There is no ceiling to it anymore. You can use it as much as your income desires. So there's a lot of misconceptions. I would definitely dive into, if you're a veteran or if you're a listing agent or somebody looking to buy a house, how to use that VA loan the best to your ability.
Yeah.
You know, Kristy, one of the biggest things I heard when I did a lot of VA loans is, oh, my credit's messed up. What do I do? Okay, you have dealt with that. It's not that hard to straighten that out.
It's not. And we'll help clients work through those things. And a lot of times we can give them a plan that will help them do that on their own. Or we have trusted people that we work with that if it's so far gone that they need some additional help. But I always tell people it's just not right now. And so let's get you a mortgage ready plan to put you in a home. And how does that work and what does that look like? And I've worked with people for several years and then put them in a home. And the satisfaction of that is amazing.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I did some of the same thing when I really focused on VA and FHA loans. I think one of the most amazing things, though, is within the veteran community, we've got some problems with PTSD. Wouldn't you agree, Brad? And definitely. TBIs and other things that are not necessarily military oriented or unique to the military, because they're in the civilian community as well. But they work with them and they help them. One of the most important things I believe is home ownership gives stability to a family.
That's right.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's interesting when you look at statistically, 78% of veterans own the home that they live in. And that is in large part due to the barrier that the VA breaks when they allow zero down and no mortgage insurance. So there are some things about that loan that is designed to help veterans get into their first home, not just for their first home. A lot of veterans use it the second, third, fourth time that they buy a home. But in particular, I think we see that statistic specifically because of the benefits to that particular loan.
Without a doubt. And a lot of people don't know, within the mortgage system, you know what has the lowest foreclosure rate of all the types of lending? VA home loan, correct? I tell you what, this is an important thing. So let's put up let's put up your website right quick as a realtor, because we got a couple of minutes before we take a break. Jordan, can you take care of that for me, please? There you go. So here's a realtor who is a Marine. Now, you are strictly licensed in the state of Texas.
And Colorado.
And Colorado. Okay, that is fantastic. And so if somebody wanted to know more about what does it take to get into the real estate business in any state, could they call you? Could they contact you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a broker, so I can sponsor agents in both Texas and Colorado. I'm very specific on who I use as agents. I want people that are willing to, again, ethical, moral, going to treat every client in the highest regard as an instructor. I don't want anybody that's not going to, follow the rules as they're laid out. But yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to talk to you. And I really want more veterans that want to be in the real estate industry to join our brokerage, because it's just a thing. You know this personally.
I do.
The veterans like talking to veterans. We get to share our war stories. We get to talk to each other. So yeah.
And veterans are all about service and bringing about what we need to do to take care of each other. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back for these words from all of our sponsors. One of them is Fairway Independent Mortgage, who I work for and Kristy works for. Also, Symbios Integrated Health. Amazing what they do. Take a look at Symbios, SYMBIOSCCN.com. Also, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry with my pastor and my closest friend, Cedric White. It's too bad he couldn't be here today because he's got a lot to offer. We'll be right back after these words from all of our partners. This is Veterans Impact Show. Share us, join us, be a part of it. And thank you for being here with Veterans Impact Show. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation. Well, welcome back, and I got to tell you, this is a great day. I mean, it's right up my alley. Been a real estate broker for years. I let it go in 2010, was a real estate instructor, mortgage banker. I'm in among friends, and then only that, we got a Marine on board.
Hoo-yah.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Hoorah.
That's Army.
Yeah, we're very particular about.
I got to tell you, as you know, because you know some of them, some of my closest friends are Marines, and there is that dedication to service. When we raised our right hand and we took that oath, there's no expiration date on it, is there, Brad?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And without a doubt, I think service is really great. And you picked the one thing, in my opinion, that really helps our brothers and sisters, and that's home ownership, which brings stability to the family. And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of veterans are struggling so hard, is they lack the stability from when they were in the military. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I see a lot of floundering veterans that they come out that discipline and structure that we have in the military, when you exit, is hard to readjust into society. And there's many great nonprofits and many great organizations trying to help people, but it's still hard for these people. And too many veterans, I think, are under the guise that they don't want to take assistance. It's a kind of a macho. I don't even want to say that because there's also, I'm talking that's male orientated, but there's this feeling that I don't want any help because, again, they're so service hearted that they don't think they need help, but they do. And
Yeah.
these are things that you served. Only 1% of our population at any given time is serving, and overall, I think I don't know the exact statistic, but I want to say like 6% of our society has served. They deserve benefits, and they shouldn't feel guilty for taking them.
Well, not only that, I think it's important. A lot of people don't realize that veterans have led the way in this nation since World War I, quite frankly. We led the way in desegregation. It's been a mess, and times it wasn't perfect. We led the way in many other areas. But when World War II was over and they came back, the line item leadership that they learned in the military, the structure they learned, was created probably the biggest economic boom the world has ever seen. And so what the military provides in terms of training, education, mindset. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they said, oh, it's just amazing, the commitment. I said, yeah, I used to travel up and down the Silver Strand in San Diego where the SEALs work out. You talk about commitment, you talk about team, you talk about honor, you talk about hard work. Man, you don't get any tougher than that, except maybe Force Recon Marine, and many of them train with the SEALs.
Yes.
So this is something that carries over, can carry over, and real estate is a great place to get involved because there's so many things that you can do and help people. And there are many organizations that you can be a part of beside the Board of Realtors. You want to be a part of your Marine Corps League or your Navy League that I'm in. You want to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. You got involved in your city in Lavon with the Parks and Recreations Department, didn't you?
Yep, I've been involved with the Parks and Recreation. I've also been on the Planning and Zoning, and currently I'm the president of the Lavon Area Chamber of Commerce. All those things, giving back to your communities, being involved in your communities is important. People need to understand that you understand the community you work in, understand the areas that you have that expertise more than just, here's a house. The joke is, for me, you look at realtors on TV and they're like, here's a sink, here's a window. That is not a realtor. A realtor is going to educate you. They're going to understand the area. They need to have geographic competence of what they're doing. And if you're not getting that, you need to reach out to somebody that is. And it goes back to somebody that understands the VA loan. You really have to understand that loan in and out. It's a great loan, but if you don't understand what you're looking for, it can be a hindrance if you're trying to use it.
Yeah.
The VA loan today is not the same as when I got out of the Navy or got out of college, because at that time, the inspection and the appraisal was ordered by the VA through a VA appraiser. It's different today. And so some of the things, it's not your grandfather's loan.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. It's not your grandfather's loan. And so here's an opportunity. And again, it is so fulfilling. When I walk through the door of my home, I go, thank you, Jesus. I have a home. And I know so many people, and when you hear and you see on the street people, what is hurting them so bad? They don't have that stability. They don't have that home. And you have a beautiful family. I saw the pictures, great daughters, and beautiful wife. You have that stability, and that's important.
Yeah, I was proud to use, my VA loan when I finally decided to buy a home. The average home ownership right now is 36, which is amazing to me. That's much older than I thought it would be. But, I bought my home at 29, and, I've gotten, because of that VA loan, I was able to get into a house much earlier. That zero down barrier is a huge factor, and a good lender will, help you get into a home at a much earlier age. And then again, being able to reuse that benefit is huge. Right now I could sell my home and keep it under a VA loan and buy another home with another VA loan because of my entitlement, because of the as long as I was doing certain parameters that a mortgage
Right.
lender could, explain to me.
I'll tell you something else most people don't realize. VA home loan is the only home that is assumable, only home loan that's assumable. When I bought my first home, I assumed another veteran's home loan, and I had a lot of extra cash from a deal I just closed. So therefore, I was able to get into a home, and you know what my monthly payment was? $675, taxes, insurance, everything included. We want you to know more about it, so we've got the pros. I've got two great ones here, Kristy Osborn and Brad Teagues. Amazing people. You want to know more? Stay with us in the next half hour. That we're talking about home ownership. We're talking about being a part of the community. We're talking about doing what you need to do to take care of your family. So when we come back, we're going to have more on that. This is Jim Blythe. This is your Veterans Impact Show. Stay with us and share us on YouTube. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation. Man, today is right up my alley. I got to tell you, I got two people that are fantastic to talk about what they do that helps families and helps veterans. One of the most important things that we have talked about, I want to repeat that, is having a home is a huge factor to stability. Makes a lot of difference. And I know if you're active duty military and you're moving every 3-4 years, maybe 2 years, you get deployed, that's a difficult proposition. But for a veteran, the home loan, and active duty military can use VA home loan.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me interjecting on it,
Please.
My son-in-law and daughter are currently staying at my house with our two grandkids. That's why I probably look exhausted. And they are, they're transitioning from Fort Schaefer, which is in Hawaii, to Fort Hood. And one of the crazy things, the military is not great about transitioning them, so they don't have a house. Their household goods are like a month behind them, so they're staying with us until their household goods get there. But one of the things I've already taught him is, besides Hawaii, but every other base, is to buy a house. Mm-hmm. And they can buy a house with their VA loan while they're active duty, mm-hmm. and then they can move, because active duty transfers are a reason why you can switch your VA loan, and they can turn that into a rental house. And they can repeat that process once, and then they can turn that, maybe if they have 3 of them, they can start turning those into conventional loans. But you can build generational wealth mm-hmm. while you're in the military. And a lot of people don't, it's kind of what I call the VA loan hack. You really can use these. And so active duty really need to look into that. So many are not educated on that. And I would really hope that some active duty military can reach out and start learning how to use that benefit to the best of their ability.
I think we need to I know there is a transitional set of classes that you go through now when you get out of the military.
Yeah, it's called
When I got out of the military, the guy said, "Hey, goodbye. Don't let the gate hit you in the rear end going out. Keep going." I did. I came back to Texas and got a degree. It's important, though, today working with these resources, and not only just the resources of the Veterans Benefit that were available, the medical benefits, the educational benefits. One of the things is you've got 2 beautiful daughters. They could utilize the Hazelwood Act, and a lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah, if you enlisted out of Texas, you're eligible for the Hazelwood Act, and the Hazelwood Act gives you free college for a certain amount of period. Also, if you're 100% disabled like I am, you can use what's called Chapter 35 benefits. Mm-hmm. And my daughters are utilizing that, because I did not enlist out of Texas. I enlisted out of Wisconsin. So I'm not a lifelong Texaser or Texan or whatever they call it.
Wait a minute. Do you have a set of cowboy boots?
I do not.
Okay.
I have combat boots.
Okay, that'll work. That's better, in my opinion. I think it's so important, too, when you're talking to someone, Kristy, you're not just talking about what's your income, what's your credit. You're talking to them about what's your lifestyle, where are you going, where are the schools, and working as a team with that realtor. One of the amazing things, when I came to this company, Fairway, they said, hey, here's a family that needs to buy a home and you need to get involved. Okay, bang, jumped in. We closed that thing from the time they handed it to me and it went under contract that day. We closed it in 20 days. Now, how many mortgage companies do you know have teams in place and are known with the reputation that Fairway's known for getting purchase deals done in 17 days? In that case, it was 20 days because we had to get a counseling certificate.
Yeah, I always tell people that Fairway is a purchase house. And what that means is while we do help refinances, we also focus most of our efforts on making sure that those closing dates are met. That is a family's life that you're dealing with. And there's a lot going on when you're moving, and we don't want a missed closing date to be something that they have to concern themselves with.
Yeah. I think it's almost absurd how hard they work. I see things coming from Steve Jacobson. We closed this thing in 7 days. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And they do it.
Yeah. I closed one. My fastest is probably 8 days, and it was a rescue loan from another lender who was now backpedaling on giving him a loan. And his wife, he was like, this is going to cause a divorce if I don't get this house. She left. She went on vacation or something. I think she went to visit her sister. And he said, this is really impacting us. So it's important.
It is. And you got to know all of the facts, and you got to know you can work through a lot of problems. And there are some problems that maybe not as easy to overcome, but you got to work with a professional.
Yeah.
And I have found you and Sabra works with me more closely, have that. And then our head of underwriting, Layla, amazing. People don't understand within that corporate structure how important that team is. And that's kind of like, okay, you were on the Chamber of Commerce, you're on the Planning and Zoning Commission, or you know the city. So if somebody wants to buy a home or build a home, you can say, okay, I know who you need to go talk to, right?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of, as a Texas Realtor instructor, there's been a lot of changes over our contracts over the last couple of years. And one of the big problems that a lot of people run into, especially in all these new areas that are expanding in the DFW area, is they don't understand if they're under a PID, a MUD, all these different things. And it really trips up the lenders, it trips up the title company. And if you don't have an experienced realtor that knows the area, there, in my opinion, there's too many people that are listing houses that have no idea what they're listing. And so that really, you need somebody that's experienced, that understands that area, that knows what those other kind of, because those can be huge barriers at the end of the loan.
It can really trip things up when all of a sudden you've got a 1% additional tax that you didn't know about.
And that tax, even if you're a disabled veteran, that tax for a MUD may not be a deductible situation.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm, again, a 100% disabled veteran. I don't pay property taxes on my home because I have that exemption, which 100% disabled do have a 100%, property tax, but I still have to pay my PID, which is, like $800 a year. And if I hadn't known that, that would be a problem, for my mortgage company, if I was buying that house, up front. So yeah, there's a lot of situations where, local experience, I don't even want to say local, just experience, knowing what to look for, knowing how to work the best things, because lenders and title companies are really leaning on the realtor to present that information properly in the documents they're giving them. And it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen. And it was kind of amazing when I went through it because I was asking the builder, we bought a builder home, and I was asking questions, and the guy was looking at me going, how do you know that? Well, I've been a broker. I've been a mortgage guy. I know how these things work. I've been a developer. I know how that works. And you're right. A lot of people don't know, and that's because they're using somebody who's just a salesman but doesn't understand, what's under the hood. That can bite you real big. And so I think it's so incredibly important to be part of that team. and be able to get where you need to get to.
And I love to share this little story about
Please.
I just completed a transaction and I had to throw it to Fairway Mortgage. I was using a different lender that the consumer had picked, and they had made a lot of promises that weren't coming to fruition. And halfway through the transaction, it turned into a short sale, which is not normal. But we had some legislation that happened at the national level, the VASP, which is the VASP, which was a deferment program that was helping veterans defer their VA loans. Since COVID suddenly got stopped, and about 4 million veterans got affected by this, and they went into almost instant foreclosure. And so I'm helping 3 veterans right now in this situation, but Fairway Mortgage has been my kind of lifeline for this because they're helping me through these short sales. Now, I'm a short sale and foreclosure expert through NAR, National Association of Realtors, but it's hard. The other agent, who was the listing agent that's actually supposed to be setting up the short sale, had no idea how to do it because most agents don't. We haven't been in a short sale situation for going on a decade.
2008,
8,
9, 10.
Yeah, you go more than decades. So, and now we're starting to see them, and most agents don't know how to deal with it, and it's complicated.
All right, let's define real quick, because if somebody doesn't understand the vernacular of a short sale, define that real quick.
I mean, I can define it. It's pretty simple. You're underwater,
Yep.
and meaning that you
Upside
owe
down.
you owe more on the house than you can sell it for.
Now, this is also relates to what you and I do, and part of what you do with the reverse mortgage lending,
Right.
because we run into that occasionally because it's a no liability loan, and if it's been in place a real long time, there's a chance that not only is the condition of the home bring the value down, but you've got more debt, and FHA will take a short sale. They will work with it. And almost every realtor I know has said, oh, I've got one of these things with a reverse and a short sale. Well, it can be done. Here's a PowerPoint that'll show you how to go through that and do
Yeah,
it.
it's considered a non-recourse loan, which just in and of itself means the house, irregardless of value, will satisfy the loan.
Yeah. And it's a great, I think it's a great transitional loan, especially for the baby boomers. And quite frankly, there's an awful lot of us baby boomers that were in Vietnam, a lot of us. And they need help right now because the housing they're in was built in the 70s, some of it in the 60s. First house I ever bought was built in 1964. And quite frankly, they're not ADA handicap equipped. You're going to run into problems with old ductile iron pipes. You're going to run into some of the problems with aluminum wiring. You're going to run into a lot of problems that you as a realtor would know and understand. And how do you fix that? And other people may not. So again, it's important to be part of a team. Because you as the buyer or you as the seller, if you ain't got the right people on your team, then you're going to be throwing it out of bounds every time.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that the VA loan actually does have a renovation prospect. There
Yeah.
is an opportunity to use VA loan. And now it can't be some structural foundation type things, but it could be cosmetic things. It could be HVAC. It could be your roof. And you can utilize the VA loan to take care of some of those things. Or, like you mentioned, you can use FHA's home equity conversion mortgage if you are 62 or older. And a lot of our veterans look at that program as an opportunity to get some repairs done if they want to stay in that home and age in place and they need to take care of some things that might help them do that.
And I've had these frank conversations with older veterans that sometimes, cashing out the equity on your house, while attractive, especially if the house is near paid off, relocating and buying a house at our current market is tough.
Yeah.
So all the equity that you have in your house will be absorbed instantly, and that's my feeling. Like if you have a house that's worth $400,000, well, the same house is going to be worth, depending on the area you're in, could be, more than that. And so now you're going to go back under a mortgage. So it's sometimes better to rehab your house, stay in your house, use a reverse mortgage than to try to buy a newer house and now you're back in debt that you could be settling to somebody else.
And
Yeah,
many people who want to stay in that neighborhood, it's a psychological thing. And one of the things
Yeah.
we've learned as CSAs, if somebody can stay in a house, if they're really having a lot of problems, and it can be renovated and made handicapped approval, it helps them have a better life.
Yeah. And I commend Brad and I commend realtors who, when they're talking to someone, instead of thinking about the sale, they're thinking about what's best for that homeowner. Is it to up and move, or is it to stay in place? And if it's to stay in place, how can I help you do that?
Yeah. Well, I had one I was called in on a couple of days ago, and it was just a tragedy, and it is a tragic situation. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of them out there. And being able to sit him down and say, okay, here's the plan. Here's the documents. Do you have this in place? No. You need to get a lawyer. We need to do this and this and this. And they're not going to be able to stay in a home. They cannot take care of themselves. And so, again, as a CSA, you and I know people that are relocation specialists who work with and understand the various and sundry senior living communities and what they can do. That sometimes, and many times I've said, when I'm sitting there with somebody, well, I want to stay in my home. And I look at them and I say, God bless you. I love you. But you can't take care of it. Look at the house. You cannot take care of it physically. And so you're putting yourself and your spouse in tremendous harm's way. And I run into that a lot. So again, understanding the story. I'm not interested in making a commission that ends up being a lawsuit.
Or ends up harming someone. It's not even about, it being a lawsuit or whatever. It is about harming someone in the future. You want to do the best that you can for your client.
Well, I want to, because we're getting down, I want to bring up your 501c3 that you're involved in. We haven't mentioned that. Could we talk about that for just a second?
Sure. I'm involved in what's called the Undaunted Warhorse Initiative. We're a nonprofit that helps veterans that have been through job loss, divorce, incarcerated, or disasters. And what we do is we go and help them find jobs, connect them to resources, and in some cases, we put them up in RVs to help them with housing, because housing is a problem. In DFW is insulated for many, many years, but we are rising as fast as anybody in the country. The cost of rent, the cost of housing is a barrier for lots of people, and we don't want to see people homeless. We're not a homeless shelter. We're not somebody that's actually helping the chronically homeless. We're helping people that are couch surfing on the verge of that, and we want to make sure that they never get to that situation. So we'd love you to check out our website. We have a golf tournament coming up in September that we would October, that we'd love people to join in on. And we're right now I'm helping a veteran who's him and his daughter are being evicted, and they would be on the streets, but we're going to put them up in an RV and make sure that they don't end up there.
Man, that's important. Well, thank you for what you're doing. And again, involvement in the community. What I say is, as veterans, we respond to that involvement in the community. We respond to being part of that. And Marine Corps is very famous for one philosophy: never leave a brother or sister behind. Never. They don't. So we want you to talk with these folks. We're going to put up their websites again. These are people who can help you to have stability, to help you have wealth building, and to help you have home ownership. This is Veterans Impact Show. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation. Man, this has been a fun conversation for me. It's like old home week, working with, and I must tell you that when I was in the Navy, we had Marines aboard our aircraft carriers. I dealt with a lot of Marines. I didn't realize just how deep it goes in the Marine Corps, really, till I got out and started being around veterans, and I get it. It's Marines just make it all happen for fellow Marines and everybody else. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you guys
Thank
do.
you for yours.
And, maybe Diane and I should have looked in Lavon, but we ended up in Princeton.
The fastest growing city in the country.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. And guess what? When we just moved in, I knocked on the next door neighbor, and the guy opens the door and he takes a look at me, and I said, "You're a Marine, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I said, "You got that look." So my next door neighbor is a Marine, Navy across the street, Navy down the street. One of them is a minister. The other one is a priest in the Orthodox Greek church, and he's Puerto Rican. don't ask me. And I'm like, this is a great neighborhood. I mean, we got everybody on here.
Yeah.
We've got a Muslim family. We have real African. I mean, they speak with, you're like, what? It's a great diversity. And that's the beauty of Dallas, I think. And do you realize, Brad, and Kristy, I don't think you know this, Dallas VA is now the largest VA in the United States in terms of people that it's helping. The VA in Texas has surpassed California.
Wow.
We are the number one state in the nation for taking care of veterans.
And have you been to the new VA hospital in Garland?
Pardon?
Have you been to the new VA hospital
Oh,
in
yeah.
Garland?
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
I've done events down there.
Yeah.
I know Dr. Stephen Holt really well. Matter of fact, if you may not recognize, if you don't really know him, in our intro, that's Dr. Holt in some of those things. And I've known the directors of the VA in Dallas since we've been broadcasting 11 years. I also have had I had the secretary of the VA on 3 times, Secretary Wilkie. I met recently with Secretary Collins, and I'd met with the secretary before, Donaldson. So we've done a lot to support the VA and veterans and help people. So again, networking with men like you, that is important, and that's part of what we do.
And I'm a big advocate of the VA. There's a lot of negative press about the VA, but I think what the VA does, both for the home loans, for the medical, anything for veterans, and as a VSO, I'm always leading people towards that. There are too many veterans that are scared of the VA for whatever bad press, bad reasons, and become part of the VA. Get your benefits, get your support. It's well deserved, and
Yes, it is.
I always am reaching out to people. Please don't be afraid of the VA loan. Don't be afraid of the VA system. It's here to help you.
There are professionals to walk you through that paperwork, and you're one of them.
Yep.
And I concur. If you knew how many times I've been sitting across from a veteran family, and after a while I go, I have been screaming at you. You can't hear me. What did you do? Oh, artillery commander in Korea? Whoa, no wonder you can't hear. Why don't you go to the VA? Oh, I'm afraid of the VA. Man, the paperwork, I tried to do that paperwork myself. It didn't work. I said, look, here's the name of the Dallas County Veteran Service Officer. He'll get you taken care of. I had a phone call one time from Roanoke, Virginia, and her father was the World War II veteran. And I got to tell you, we got him the aid and attendance through the DAV there in Roanoke, Virginia. So it's all working together to make it work for everybody. And again, what a lot of people don't understand, they say, well, you veterans have got it made, you have your own medical system. That's true, but the VA medical system also leads the nation and the world in many cases in some of the things they do. They're doing heart work here in Dallas, and now they've got a spinal cord unit that's amazing that we're going to be doing and working with. Like I say, at the Garland facility, I was there when they opened that thing. So it is an amazing opportunity for veterans and for young men and women who are trying to figure out their life and where to go and what to do. The military is a great place to start out. Not for everybody, But if you want commitment, you want focus, you go, I'm floundering, I don't know what I want to do. You'll find out. You'll learn.
And you have choices.
And you'll have choices. And the military is the way to go. So I got to tell you, Brad, I am so thankful that you came, that you were brought by a very good friend of mine here, Kristy, and all you do. So everybody, again, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Kristy, you say your website so people can get them to you?
At KristyOsborn.com.
Okay. And Brad, your website of your company?
It's www.vbrg.net.
Okay. Take a look at these. We're here for you, and we're here to help you have a stable environment, a stable home, and the opportunity for wealth building. It's unbelievable. I've done it. Let me tell you, I've owned my own home for a long time, since the 70s. All right, thank you for being on board, and thank you to Fairway, thank you to Symbios, thank you to Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and thank you to Jeff Crilly for allowing us to use this facility, and to my beautiful wife, Diane, who keeps me in check and helps me get all this done, and Jordan Kendrick for all you're doing. I like to close with a prayer. So, Lord God of the universe, I want to thank you so much for our veterans and members of our community who are leaders and what we can learn from them. Thank you, God, for putting a hedge of protection around our active duty military and our first responders who serve throughout the world. They are the ones who run into the fire instead of away from it. Thank you, dear God, for all you do for us. And thank you for helping to bring this nation back together. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, dear Lord. And this we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Brad, thank you for being on board and being part of it.
Thank you for inviting me.
And let's get together more often. And I know that Rowlett VRC that's over there. And Miss Osborn, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great. It's a lot of fun. And see, now everybody will know who we are if they see that magazine. We were featured on a magazine. So thank you.